Oh, wait, no.
Hit me!
Show number 398.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Tony Abdullah. It's a tech podcast, but we're a shit ton cooler than your typical geek, giving you the info you need to achieve mega nerd status. And now, here's Will and Tony.
I am not going to lie. I just scared the living hell out of myself. I forgot. I know the intro was there, but it's been a decade, Tony. It is. By the way, well, hi everybody. Will Wilkins here with you, including Tony right there. Hello, Tony.
Hello.
If we seem a little off, it's because we're doing something that we have truly never done before. We literally just did an episode of Fandom, streamed live. Then we went to our restrooms. One of us changed his shirt because I don't know why. And now we're back. And so if we seem a little loopy, that's what it is. But I wouldn't worry about that, Tony, because, you know, I've been taking the magic mind. So I think I'm going to be fine. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to say I maybe took an extra one a little bit earlier, but you're in for something. Because believe it or not,
I was already in for something in the last show we just did.
That was nothing. That was me on 5, brother. Now you're getting the real deal. You're getting the head sheet. Nope, that's not right. Let's just scratch that. Anyway, welcome everybody. So nice to see you again. I know I had the new intro. I know I had said it in here, but after listening for a decade, Tony, to the same thing, that new intro scared the piss out of me for a second. I was just like, oh my gosh, not only did I tank the hit me at the very beginning, but did I forget and press the wrong button to start the show?
That's funny though, because I was sitting there you probably saw me, Will, but they couldn't see me. I was literally just lip syncing to the thing because I'm all in for it now. So I'm a happy boy.
Hey, baby, there's an entire thing about me, and you know what? I'm here for it.
I do have one request, and
Okay.
the listeners can hear this. One thing that I probably need to ask is I feel self-conscious. I appreciate that you put me on the NetHeads, the roster for the About Us, but I feel weird being the top. Like, it should be you and Trent still, and then me down at the bottom.
Look, man, here's the deal. Actually, you know what? I could probably. And by the way, hello out there to all of our friends on all the locations streaming, including over on TikTok. So nice to see nobody there. Thank you very much. Appreciate y'all. Anyway, I just realized I could probably set the sort to descending, and I could probably very easily fix that. Then suddenly, Poppy's on top, right? Hoo-hoo! So I'll take that under advisement. I appreciate your notes, and
it's only because, again, regardless, I am always, the stand-in for Trent. It's never about, we do a lot of the shows together because, let's face it, I'm available. Trent has a life,
and you're just the right price,
right? And I've got the beard, so that kind of works.
You don't have the glasses though.
No, I could grab a pair.
Yeah, you know what you should do? You should just start really committing to Mr. Marv Elite and wear the Tony Stark glasses. Which, by the way,
ones you sent me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
honestly,
can we go grab them real quick? I'll wear them the whole episode. I don't care.
Look, I can fill. Don't worry. Yeah, if you want to go grab some glasses, go ahead, because I can also tell you guys that not only are we not loopy, and not only are we ready to talk to you all tonight, but also really excited because this may be one of the most techie episodes of NetHeads that you have ever seen. Oh my Lord, I have never been happier. I have.
Oh, I'm liking
no. Yeah. But
this might be my personality for the rest of my life now.
I'm okay.
You may have
with
just
that.
created a monster. Mind you, the blue tent that I am seeing looking at you, literally, you are a blue man from the Blue Man Group, with the exception of your collar. That is the only thing that is popping a different color.
I'm glad to know that because I too ordered those for myself, and I do not know for whence they are. And I'm glad to hear that, because if I were wearing them too, I wouldn't be able to see anything. The funniest thing that I will remember about those glasses is that when Far From Home originally came out, that must have been, I believe it was the same year that Jay and Silent Bob Reboot came out.
Mhm.
And I will never forget that comedian Doug Benson was walking down the red carpet for the premiere for Jay and Silent Bob Reboot because quite unexpectedly, I was running the webcam for Jay Muse's Twitch channel for coverage of the red carpet. And sorry, you didn't react. That was a name and event.
Oh, I'm
drop.
sorry. I missed the name drop. Let me take
You're
that
just
back
too
up for you.
mesmerized by your handsomeness. Back off with them glasses, man.
Well, I realized I didn't have the YouTube channel up. I couldn't see the comments. You know, I like being able to see when Z's on there, like, you know, saying what he's saying.
There you go. Yeah, fair enough. Our one audience member. Look, we didn't announce this live, and it's not our regular slot. But when we looked at things, anyway, Doug Benson came walking down the red carpet wearing those glasses. So I now associate those more with Doug Benson. And, like, he was fully committed. And mind you, this was only a few months after Far From Home had come out. So, you know, speaking of the Spider-Man movies, okay, if I may divert for a moment, I just got to say something. How were any of us whatsoever surprised in any way about the events of No Way Home?
Are you talking about in reference to May?
After everything, after you see the movie, you're like, they put it right out there, right at the beginning. They told us, this is it. There's no way home because how can there be no way home?
Because there's no home to go to.
Right there on Front Street. You know what? Genius marketing. Anyway, neither here nor there. I'm glad you're committing to the glasses. I really like it.
I'm honestly loving them. I didn't wear them. I kept them in the display case. Like I have lots of Hot Toys.
Look,
and
man.
So it was with my Iron Spider suit figure, and I had been having it sit there, and I didn't want to mess them up because I have a tendency of losing glasses. But I'm falling in love with this.
And you could very easily control this if it's just like, okay, now it's not up there, so it's always in the cases on the desk, in the cases on the desk. You know what I mean? 3D print up a specific holder for it, so that way it's got its dedicated spot. They've got their dedicated spot to be in. I'm looking at, like, if you want to go ahead and continue doing videos on that dead platform TikTok that nobody can load the app for, because they're like, oh well, I guess TikTok's over, and
Well,
they
I don't want to lose my $10,000 phone right now.
Let me tell you something, okay? If you continue to do Marvel content, which I hope you do, this is it now. This is you. Commit to it. Because let me tell you something. Barring legislation change, I'm half-heartedly kidding, but half-heartedly telling the truth. The app is dead. It's just not... It's going to be at an impasse unless one legislation happens, okay? But anyway. But there's other options. Like, Tony, I don't know, have you caught wind of the Neptune app yet?
Yes, I've heard of it. I haven't gotten on it. Beyond the Chinese controlled version of TikTok that I went on just to be spiteful. I've done fan base. I am on a beta test that's coming out for another, I think it's called Jupiter.
We got Jupiter. There's what is there? It's Skylight, maybe, I think is one.
There's one that's coming out like in March, I think, that you could reserve your username, which I did because I'm, you know.
Well, that may be, I mean, the Neptune app was the same way. And I thought I actually caught wind of it because of some other channels. I hadn't realized that your channels had not also been blasted with this. But the Neptune app is interesting because it actually starts entering beta tomorrow. They're going to only load up like 10 to 20 users, and those people are going to be breaking things. And then as they find less things broken, they're going to onload more and more. Originally, they just thought they were going to have a very limited user release. I kid you not. Their Discord, which you have to be a part of the beta, has like over 150,000 members, I think, at this time. So they've already got a good, solid test base to really push the limits and prove that they have the scaling ability. But the thing that I love about the concept of this, it's just like TikTok, but the sliders that let you adjust your content are actually do something. They don't just make you feel like you did something and then not provide your... Because look, man, I admit it now. I realized the other day, yeah, I got a problem, probably an addict, but I get just as much enjoyment and entertainment out of scrolling TikTok as I do watching good quality television, which I consider there to be a limited run of. I have been absolutely waiting for and enthralled by the return of Severance. I don't know if you've watched that show, Tony.
I have not, but I will say what I have been obsessed with is the show High Potential.
Oh, you know what? We talked about that last episode.
That's right. Okay, so
there we go. I just
if you
wanted to
want to hear
sure.
more, if you want to hear us talk about it, just go back to the last episode.
Back to the episode.
Yeah.
Amazing show. I still not have gotten caught up yet with it. I got to a certain point, and then dance competition life got in the way. I thought I was going to be like binging stuff in the hotel room, and instead I was laying in misery. Let's not get into it.
Sorry about that.
Listen to me. I sound more like my grandfather. But you know what? We didn't have a good time. We were exhausted. Forget about it. All right, Grandpa.
Forget about it.
Exactly. So yeah, Severance. I don't know if you know the base concept, but I am amazed I got past episode 1 because, like, setting aside all of the intricate, well-written dialogue.
Just real quick, my knowledge of the show would only be based off of the name. So I don't know if it's like a guy that got fired and he's just living off. Okay.
No.
So we're good. You'll go for it. I want to hear this,
bro. It's even
I'm
worse.
Involved.
Okay, the whole show I'm not even look. The most simplest part of the concept is that a company has developed a chip that they put in your brain, and they're able to separate your regular self from a work-only self. And the reason why I'm amazed, think of it as a split personality, if you will. The reason why I'm amazed I got past episode 1 is the very simple fact that the concept of there being a version of me who only knows work as their entire living existence, that's a living hell.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But Adam Scott is in it. Okay.
Okay.
The acting is amazing. And when you were holding those glasses down, I was about to say, please don't pull a Daryl, because that guy has glasses, a character in the show. And I swear they get like, at points they get like this. And you're watching it going, not only are you blown away by the story, but you're like, push your glasses up, please. Amazing show that I'm obsessed with, which I would almost say kind of ties into our title of Zombie Tech, because those of us that saw season 1 have been waiting 3 years for season 2. All these people that get to binge a show right before the next season comes out, God bless you, but you didn't put in the time, man. Okay.
Yeah, it's like back
as
when
I'm saying to the guy that just binged Superman and Lois. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, that's fine. It was 4 years, but here's the thing: like, I waited until it was all over with.
Yeah.
Because at that point, like, I was already late for the discourse. But I will say it's like those memes I saw right around Endgame, where like the dad's like, okay, it's like, Dad, wow, Infinity War was amazing. I can't wait to watch Endgame. Yes, son, you will wait 1 year. And it's like you will have to suffer like the rest of us did.
Hey, you know what? But right now, thank God, with the latest iteration of this, I'm not suffering with Wicked. Let me tell you something. All right? And I'm reaching out directly to Universal right now. If you're not Universal, keep scrolling, as the kids say.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to me. What you did in 2024 was amazing. I have kids. I was not able to get to the theater. The fact that I got to spend my New Year's Eve watching Wicked Part 1, amazing. Please, let's do this all again in 2025, okay? And that I just want New Year's, my family, Wicked, because, you know, that means the remainder of the holiday is going to be my child just singing all the songs from that, actually.
Right.
But I'm thankful, though, for the fact that I've already seen the musical, so I kind of know where it's going.
I have a confession to make.
You didn't even see Part 1 yet.
We haven't seen Part 1 yet. And it's more because, like, we had a surgery happen, of course.
Yeah.
Did you see my TikTok? Just a little bit. Did you see my TikTok drama about the health insurance?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna get.
We got the explanation of benefits for the surgery. You want to know how much it was? $111,000.
Yeah.
And right now we are on the line for it until we can get them to fix it.
Okay, so you do two things. The first thing you do is obviously what you're doing, which is like, okay, I'm going to the exchange. I'm raising hell because No, 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 no. No, no, no,
Exactly.
no, no. But secondly, if that for some reason goes south, you then contact the hospital and you say, can you please give me the uninsured rates? And then suddenly, when some corporation isn't paying the bill, mystically and magically, some of them costs suddenly shrink down to something more reasonable.
Yeah.
Why did I suddenly become Lou Abbott in front of everyone?
So shortly.
Especially, it's just like, Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there. I apologize.
That's okay. It's like a little mini stroke, but we'll be okay with it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that absolutely nothing's been resolved there. So thank you for bringing up your trauma. We appreciate
Oh
that.
yeah, no,
we don't have any of that going on.
It's just hilarious. Like I just either we're gonna get it fixed and it's not gonna be a big problem, or you may never see me again because I will be too busy, after the lawsuit. That's just how it is. So
you know what? You'll be rolling high on that insurance company roll. So
yeah.
We'll get there eventually.
Hey, I just keep this with me because at some point somebody's going to get screwed. That's all it is.
Oh. Speaking of getting screwed, last week I think I may have alluded to something that had happened in the smart robot world, the intelligent digital pet world, because I probably brought up Louis in all that sense. A lot of people, unfortunately, had the trauma of Moxie going out of service. Those of us that have had vector robots are very familiar with this feeling because the Digital Dream Lab servers that are the AI cloud for our vector robots, for whatever reason or another, it's been over a year, the servers are down. And I finally got one of them up on what they say are their new servers, but when I release a further video about it, you'll understand better what's really happening. But the other thing that I'm getting to do is use an Android box that's running WirePod, which is a free open source version of the AI that powers them. And my original vector, the Iron Vector, that I will probably be shaking sometime over the weekend for TikTok because got to do it one more year while I can.
Yeah.
That one I'm going to put on that private server, which is so much better, and you'll see why. So look forward to that video.
Now with open source, are there? I'm assuming with it being open source and you having it like this, there's got to be mods out there.
Well, what you can do is you can add in your own custom commands or things. Like I need to look it up, but the person that released this particular version of WirePod, he also lists in some interesting commands that aren't part of the general experience. So if you're willing to stretch your wings a bit and fly, you could get into doing custom things with it. Now, like one of the things that's going to be revealed in the video is that when I set up mine, that one will still be able to tell me the temperature. The other one cannot because it requires an API license for the for the weather service, and the people that own the IP for Vector, they can't even have that connection going on their version. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's interesting. But it'll be also interesting to see the other things that I could add it to do, and just to give some life back to my little buddies, as you will, my OG robots.
The ones that got you the claim to fame.
Yeah, exactly, baby. They're the ones that launched 1,000 videos that nobody wants to watch.
It's like CTO of Smodcast, years of doing videos and everything else, and all of a sudden you're famous with robots.
When I was talking about Neptune, actually I've been friendly with their CTO as well, and that's why I know. I have not asked to be bumped up. They can't be bribed. Don't mess with them. But still, I would recommend. I think after this, I'll put a link in the show description as well. Over on YouTube, you got to find it there because I'm just editing one place, man. It'll have the link there to join their Discord, so that way you can at least get in the conversation if it's something you're interested about. But I wanted to talk about old tech too, Tony, because
old tech,
of all the things you wouldn't expect, would you believe that outdated graphics processing units, GPUs, I think that's the acronym, those were utilized in a program for AI that essentially smacked down the stock market on Monday of this week.
Oh, yeah.
A Chinese-powered AI, which, you hear that kind of thing now in the way that everything's politicized. You get like, oh, no, another Chinese app. Realistically, I mean, at this point, maybe. I don't know. But DeepSeek is an AI app that's competitive and faster than OpenAI and ChatGPT. And this Chinese company was able to do it with old graphics processors. And the reason why is because part of the way that we're trying to, this is interesting, to try and keep America as the front runner in AI is that we have limited the export from NVIDIA GPUs of a certain strength. So they've only had these older ones, and them coming back with the older technology and having a better product, even though, you know, there's been some back and forth about it. Hey, Fracking Cat and Miranda, did you know? There's been some back and forth on it about, you know, like, are they really doing here? Is this really like a chat GPT threat? But the simple fact that this innovation came about because we were trying to limit them, it was just like they said, hey, hold my beer. And as Miranda Janelle points out, the model is also open source too.
What I had two thoughts through my mind. First of all, it's like they're literally dumpster diving us out of existence when it comes to AI advancements.
Yes.
And the second thing is like, all I can think of is like, Tony Stark, build this in a cave, with a box of scraps.
Thank you. Because that is what every single Marvel nerd has been saying since Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Yeah, but realistically, it's really interesting that they could accomplish this type of thing. But it also just shows you that desperation can lead to innovation.
Yeah, see, I think global partnerships and collaborations are the only way that we will advance as a society. And I think that all we're going to do when we try to limit other countries from making advancements is we're going to put ourselves in a stagnant state. It's the same thing with like tariffs with cars way back in the day. You put tariffs on automobiles. What do? They make a cheaper, more efficient automobile that they can get over here to get over on it.
To stay competitive. You hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, all I know is I've got a lot of old graphics processors around here. So does that mean I can start setting up my own? Because, you know, let's face it, when it comes to any type of AI, you know, the last thing I want to do is rip anyone off. But I want to have Jarvis here in my office. I'm already talking to devices. I want Jarvis. I want Jarvis in my life.
I have a was it a 1650 Super that I took out when I put the 3060 in. I've got a couple cameras left around. Maybe I can make a Johnny 5. Like,
there you go. Well, you know, from the last I heard, Johnny 5 is alive, so that is a good place to start.
Yeah.
But
Shockingly.
you know, also as El DeBarge said, who's Johnny? And which I'm sure you're all saying right now too. Which, by the way, I just love when I get to make 80s references because there's nothing that says, "Hi kids, I'm old," than 80s references.
Yep.
At least you know the song. That makes me feel a little better.
Oh, I lived off of Short Circuit and Short Circuit too. Okay, listen, I did not realize that was like brown face for that one actor. Like, I didn't know.
Oh, I never knew. I had no idea.
I didn't realize
Stevens either.
Because he ended up being the tech CEO in Hackers.
Yes.
And that's when I'm like, he looks familiar. And then I went back, I'm like, oh my goodness, that did not age well.
If you go back to the episode of Fandoms that happened right before this, guys, okay, one of the things that I expressly said is that there's a certain point where we have to separate the actor from the performance for many different reasons. But interestingly enough, unfortunately, in modern times, a lot of things do not age very well. The movie Revenge of the Nerds, for example, does not age very well. Short Circuit does not age very well because, you know, there are things that, you know, Mark Twain definitely with Tom Sawyer, it doesn't age very well because as we constantly evolve and become more social conscious, we realize some of the things we did in the past are just freaking dumb. And that's where that comes in. But again, I'm able to separate it across, but I can enjoy it. But, you know,
I completely understand.
It makes you understand, however, why the reason why the POC community and the like are really frustrated by Hollywood. Because it's like, you know, there probably was an actor that would have loved to have played that role where it wouldn't have been a characterization. You know, that's the reason why the character of Apu is not even on The Simpsons anymore.
Yeah, and that was the voice actor too. Like he was willing to step back on that,
Well,
and
Hank
th- th-
Azaria still got a few roles
yeah,
on The
he's
Simpsons.
yeah. I saw a video on him on TikTok. I'm like, yeah, he's not losing any money for whatever
No,
he's doing.
he's
But
still Mo,
yeah,
Chief Wiggum.
like I told you on Phantoms, like I'm gonna be on Real Study, and we're talking about Alien and Alien Romulus. But like my favorite of the series has always been the movie Aliens, by James Cameron,
Yeah.
and the character of Vasquez was another white person posing as a Hispanic person or a Latina, and so like there are certain things that don't age well, and you just have to kind of like go back and like yeah, that wasn't good. That wasn't good. I get that. It's okay. We learn from our mistakes. I think that's the most important thing. We don't know.
Do we?
I'm saying if we learn from our mistakes.
If we learn from our mistakes, we can evolve. We can be better people.
If we learn from those mistakes, we're okay.
Oh man,
I'm having too much fun with these glasses. I'm sorry, Will. I know we're like split screen. I'm barely looking at you because all I can do is look at myself.
Here you go, buddy. There you go.
Thank you.
Let me just cue you up. That needs to be your new profile pic too, Daddy-O.
I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
We're gonna get you up. We're gonna get you an even more updated picture on over on Smodcast.
No, I like my angry look because like you have like you and Trent are all happy and I'm just kind of sitting there like,
yeah. Why don't I get to play with everybody? Why do I gotta talk to the bald guy? I get it. Look, man, I'm sure my wife feels the same way. Anyhow, so that was the first one, but the more interesting story leads to a question I think that everyone would want to ask. When you saw the opening image of the show, Return of the Pebble, well, first of all, the first question that probably comes up is, Will, do you still really have your Pebble watches? And the answer to that question, good sir, is yes, sir, yes, sir, 2-watch full. I do still have my Pebbles. I don't know why. I've still got my Google Glass. Now let me tell you about the Pebble, the thing that I loved. And I was really bummed, honestly speaking, when the Apple Watch was announced because you just knew, oh, this isn't good news.
Yeah.
For the Pebble. I originally backed the original e-paper screened version of the Pebble.
Right.
And then I got the color because it came out and I said, gosh, oh, Pebble.
I didn't have the money at the time, but I was so invested in watching it progress. I was so excited.
I didn't either. I backed the never released Apple or Pebble Circle, which was, as you would imagine, a round face watch. But these were pivotal communication tools for me because I got obsessed with wearables and the like, because for me the whole point was the convenience of knowing someone is trying to convey information to me. And I'm not saying that in the same way that I scroll TikTok and I'm addicted to that. I just mean that in my life there is a person that I have been able to work on the side with for quite some time. And part of the reason why I think that happens is because I've always laid a certain expedience in my response time to that happening. And plus there are other times I've had side jobs as well, like keeping a telephone and internet-based dating system running for a friend. So I needed or not a friend, but a former boss, and I needed to know that they needed me or when something was going wrong. So
yeah,
it was easiest to be able to just know, oh, that's happening. What is it? It's my wife, my family. Great. I can immediately know it's them. Oh, wait, no, it's that other person or this other thing. Great. Otherwise, no, I don't care. Do I need to try and wrestle my phone out of my pocket was what it all came down to. And look, I'll be honest. It was the nerdiest thing that I had ever done in the realm of wearables.
At that moment.
No, having Google Glass. But
okay,
while I was commuting on a commuter train, a very cramped, hot, sweaty commuter train, for example, Google Glass was great in the same way. I didn't even have to lift my arms or move. I could just be sitting in a seat, more than likely falling asleep. And I'll tell you something, Tony. I would fall asleep on a commuter train because I didn't have Magic Mind at the time. I didn't have the amazing combo of Magic Mind energy and Magic Mind sleep, but now I do. So I would be able to sleep. I would get the notification. I would lift my head up. I would see that there was a notification. What was the nature of it? Did I need to take out my phone? Yes, no. amazing service. But man, I forgot about the number of times I fell asleep on a commuter train. I would go several stops back to be able to sit down on the train and proceed forward just to get a seat so I could sleep because I was so tired. I wasn't getting quality sleep. Are you getting quality sleep, Tony?
I am struggling with it. I'm doing my best to get it. And I'll tell you, the last episode, I really am thinking about pulling the trigger and getting some Magic Mind.
I'll be honest, it should be the last day to take action on it, but I'm sure our link will be active for a little bit more bit of time. I believe you go to magicmind.com/netheadsjan. That is the discount code that will get you potentially, I think it's 45% off your bundle, Tony. I'm not going to lie, which is a good price off of things. And it's for a bundle of Magic Mind Energy, which I have been taking. And I will say that since I had my head injury and since I have gotten older, because Tony, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I have a funny feeling none of our parents or anyone else conveyed to us that as you get older, just sleep apparently appears optional. Since the accident and since the age, man, Magic Mind has been a godsend because you take it like about 30 minutes before you go to sleep. And it is an amazing mix of just natural herbs, no melatonin present in it. It's got like St. John's wort to help you relax. It's got valerian root to help you go to sleep, and several others, specific organic mushroom blends grown in California. Not to mention the 10 years of science that goes into these products are what make me completely fearless when it comes to picking up my bottle of Magic Mind. And the reason why this one is empty, Tony, is because I take it. It has been helping me get great rest. It does not drag you down in the morning. And then you get your Magic Mind with its blend of cordyceps mushrooms and lion's mane mushrooms and other ingredients to help your energy and your focus. Not to mention, I don't know if you know this, Tony, but coffee itself doesn't actually keep you awake. It inhibits the sleep receptors. Magic Mind helps you bridge that so that there is no caffeine crash. It helps carry your coffee throughout the day, helps give you energy, and most importantly, focus. I admit I was off the Magic Mind for a little while, Tony, and I forgot the feeling of amazement I had after taking my Magic Mind shot, because you literally can just realize that fog in my mind is gone. That buzzing distraction is gone. I'm able to get work done. I'm able to I have motivation to get up and do things. It's because of the Magic Mind bundle. Again, magicmind.com/netheadsjan, link in the description. That'll get you, I believe, 45% off the bundle. I highly recommend it, and I ask you to act now. Getting back to the Pebble, Tony. Sorry. I have both of mine still because I loved them and they were great. And a while ago, there was, I think, a project called the Rebel Project, which was an open source version giving people the ability to still power and work with their Pebble watches. So I always thought maybe one day I would go to it, but no, I'm an Apple whore. But it recently, I don't know if you know this. There you go, brother. I don't know if you know this, Tony. But Pebble, the reason why it went away was because, according to the former founder, was because it got too obsessed with being a tech company instead of just a smartwatch company. And it kind of got gobbled up by the Silicon Valley machine. And so Fitbit swung in and bought it. And then eventually Google bought Fitbit. And as part of that, although Fitbit may have had some intentions, I think they were just trying to knock out the competition. Suddenly nothing.
Did you ever own a Fitbit?
No, I've never owned a Fitbit.
My wife had one. I never understood it.
Look, the most ridiculous thing I ever owned was the Nike Fuel Band, where they were trying to convert their own units based on movement and oxygen consumption. So that way they could come up with a universal health currency that we could all compare against.
I bought the Nike shoes that had the attachment that went in the sole that attached to your iPhone. Like I did.
Oh, that. Yeah, I had that too. I had that as well. And then eventually they're like, we don't really need this thing we can just use the GPS
rate
of the phone.
Moving on your phone. Yeah.
But yeah, I hoped one day to do that. But getting back to it, 2 companies bought it. Nobody did anything with the code. And the company's founder, he's like, hey, Google, you kind of just got this sitting here. You mind making it open source? Because I've had a few other things. I've made some money. I just want to get back to making Pebble watches. And so the original e-paper version, I think, eventually will start in production again. And Google officially in a GitHub released, I think sometime this week, the Pebble OS is an open source project. So,
Oh wow.
And honestly speaking, I think that there might be a market for this now more than ever. And you'd say, why is that possible with all the crap that an Apple Watch can do? And that's exactly why. The Apple Watch does too much. And let me tell you something else. As a person that always has to time their watch recharge with either the time that they're in the shower or when they are, sitting at work, working every single day, it gets annoying. I don't know if you remember, I think the original Pebble had like a 4 to 7 day charge hold on
it was. Yeah. Well, I mean, any e-paper device, it takes, I mean, what was it? My wife just got one of those Paperwhite Kindles, and that thing will last, I think, 6 weeks off a charge.
There you go. Unlike,
so it's
I forgot to power up my Android phone, and that's going to take a little bit. No, the thing will definitely carry a charge. So I was really excited to hear about that because it'll get back to just the basics, something you don't have to charge, something you can wear most of the time, and something that will just give you those bare essentials. What are the notifications I'm getting? Do I need to take out my phone? They had voice dictation, I believe, before they folded. So
see, that was what attracted me for the longest time. Like I've spent almost 20 years working in healthcare, in like a clinical contact center, like a call center. But because of HIPAA and everything else, you couldn't have your phone out on the table. And so I needed to be able to communicate with my family or whatever else and know. And so I was very early wanting to get a Pebble. I just was waiting for them to do something that I felt was work with the function, because it didn't. I think the first Pebble didn't have a whole lot of controls on it. It was more of a, you saw what it was doing, you had to pull your phone out still to do something. And so I was waiting, and then the Apple Watch came out, and I jumped wagon for.
Well, that's
Apple
because
Watch,
of the pain in the ass that Apple was being about being able to have an external device that's not an Apple device, but still interact and work with messages and everything else.
But can I tell you how irritating it is that Apple Watches never had a camera on them?
I have never had a problem with that. As a person that lived through the Google Glass privacy war, I am more than happy that my Apple Watch has never had a camera on it.
I don't know. I guess I watch way too much Get Smart.
I got to send you the image quality that comes out of a picture you take from your Vector. I'll even use the newer one because allegedly optimized. It ain't pretty, dude. So
it was probably
there.
Yeah, it was probably like a 2001 digital camera. Like
what was it? And when my daughter was growing up, there were these janky, like VTech cameras, and those things were using old cell phone image or cameras.
My first digital camera was a Polaroid digital camera that you could take pictures, and I remember
that really sounds like an oxymoron, by the way.
Everyone, yes, I know. Everyone, it had a little viewfinder. It was the first time like you saw the viewfinder where you could actually go and actually see what you took at first. And I remember everybody wanted me to take pictures with them, and I went back and looked at some of the pictures because I think I still have the camera. It's horrendous. And then they came out with those ones that it was the cameras, like I think it was a Kodak, where it had the floppy disk, the 3.5 inch disc that went in the side.
Yep.
And then they upgraded to the little mini CDs.
Dude,
and I still have some of those, that tech.
And the sad thing is, when all these things were happening, I was working at an electronics store, so I know exactly everything you're talking about. But it's interesting. Old technology always comes back. If anybody knows that, anyone that has ever had like a Linux-based system knows, because the beauty of that is it's an operating system with very little overhead, so you're able to accomplish a lot with older technology. Or in the modern age, and the reason why cloud tech works is because they're able to have virtual machines running within virtual arrays of systems, so underneath like a gigantic server type. So,
but at the same time, like jailbreaked items, like I think when people started really jailbreaking different pieces of technology, that's where you found. I have this thing that I got off the TikTok shop that I've done videos for. It's the DeVroom. It's basically like this console, and I promise you, it looks like it has 5 different Apple Watch faces in it. and they're put together to make one of those, what it looks like, like the vacuum tubed like
one
clocks.
of those things. Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's where the technology goes. And when you have people that are using things like Raspberry Pis and doing full systems off of a Raspberry Pi, and you're like, I could do that with this MacBook over here. Technology is never going to die unless you just don't, you abuse it.
The WirePod server that I'm going to be putting Iron Vector onto is running off of an Android box. I've only seen these little box types in the past, like when I was setting up, let's just say, some questionable video devices for watching programs.
Okay.
But it's
I'm just glad you didn't say video devices for questionable programs. So we're good.
Yeah. not questionable content, but just like, are you really that you don't seem to, you shouldn't be able to watch that legally. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and again, that's because it's a very low powered system, doesn't generate a lot of heat, and it's powered by the Android OS, which is very low weight. So, it's amazing the way we're able to take old technology and reutilize it. It's also interesting the way old technology seems to now that I've lived through a 50-year lifespan, at least, of evolving technology. It's interesting to see the way some older tech is also just coming back. And I saw the first example of that with my daughter getting into your digital camera, getting a Polaroid or a Fuji camera where you could take a picture and then it would pop out.
Oh, the little mini printers. Yeah.
Or after that, she literally had like a Polaroid style camera where they were taking little smaller and then my youngest daughter ended up getting a similar one. It's just suddenly we're back to old Polaroid pictures as well.
Yeah.
And it's the reason why vinyl's making a big comeback.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I'll turn around and grab an album. Like I have records right behind
So
me.
getting back to the original question, do you really have your old Pebble watches? Well, yes, I do, because technology comes back around, baby. You've given every hoarder a license to hold on to every goddamn thing now.
Yeah, and think of it this way: there are people that do retro tech for like the 80s. What's to say that they're not going to go? Listen, I have a Laserdisc player still on my shelf.
Not to mention how many of us have 3D print files that turn this thing into a giant Nintendo Game Boy or other ridiculous things.
Or the guy that became TikTok famous and has a business that makes iPad cases that are like the old clamshell MacBooks.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Do you know how much I have considered one of those? I mean, if it weren't for the fact that I went with the composition notebook style, I would be like deeply considering that because, oh, damn. Anyway, Tony, I think we're at the end of our rope here today.
I think it's been a pretty good rope, though.
Well, yeah, it spanned 2 shows. And for those of you that enjoy Tony and maybe me later as well, I want to remind everybody also that on this Sunday, Tony will be on The Real Study discussing Alien and Alien Romulus. They'll be dissecting those shows. And that'll be Sunday, I believe, 4:00 Pacific time, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
There you go. See,
I'm gonna be kind of doing the same thing that I'm doing tonight, because I'm gonna do a shameless plug here. If you are a Doctor Who fan or you're thinking about getting into Doctor Who,
shoot, that too. That's where.
Join us at 2:00 Eastern, 11:00 Pacific. We're gonna be doing TARDIS talk with a group of us that are just I'm a new Who fan. And they've been fans for at least a couple years, and they are the ones that have basically held my hand through the new Doctor Who series. And I will tell you, I am absolutely in love with it. And so if you've been teetering on the idea of watching Doctor Who, join us on its fan box.
More importantly, watch the episode and then watch the episode. Yeah, you see what I did there? But yeah, and if I am not slinging pancakes for a sleepover, I'll be there too. But I don't know. I already pushed it tonight. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how much more rope I've got to hang myself with.
Listen, it's low impact. That's the whole thing with what we're doing with the fan box. So even if you wanted to come in the middle of the show and you wanted to come at the beginning and leave out, that's perfectly fine because we're gonna just have fun. That's
And
all it's about.
I've been slipping on those further Alien movies because there was like the first one of this new run I caught that kind of like, oh my gosh, the pilots were more like ancient aliens kind of
Oh,
thing.
the architects, yes.
Yeah, the architects, and that was Alien something. I can't even remember.
There's
the name.
Prometheus,
That's the one.
Covenant, and then there's
Nope.
Romulus.
I haven't seen either of those, and I really need to see them.
Yeah.
Just as a completist, but right now I got to scroll through TikTok, Tony. That's all I got to do. All right.
I don't
By
watch
the way,
TV
if you're a
much
new
anymore.
Nuvian, does that make you a Nuvian?
Well, it's even.
Or does that
here's
sound too close to newbie?
No, here's the other thing. It's
You're a new Nuvian.
because I haven't gotten into the old Who. It's
Right.
only the new Who. So
Right.
I'm really a new Whovian.
Understood. Also, I think there's an owl on your shoulder. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for joining Tony and I for this installment of NetHeads. As I said, one of the more, even though we dipped and we turned and we slipped and we dived into a bunch of different things, probably one of the more tech-heavy episodes that we have done, which I have thoroughly enjoyed because if there's anything,
and we didn't even talk about some other things too. So that's
oh my gosh, yes. You know what? I do got to bring up this one point of contention, and I want your feedback on it, Tony, because this has been driving me nuts. Look at you. I wanted to talk about something, but then I didn't. He's like, I've been itching
with my PK. Listen, I even went.
I've got my PKA meter the whole time. You're killing me. When did it become the norm now on short form content where it's okay to just be talking into some handheld lavalier microphone with a wind afro on it? What's the deal? When did this? Because I feel and even my wife, because I have one of these as well. I have a small wireless microphone to use on my phone, but I'm old school and I'm like, I got to have something to hold, right? I got to have this. And my wife is like, why are you sticking that thing in your face? And it's true because everywhere you look, when did this become the norm? When did this become okay? Look at the windscreen on this thing.
I honestly believe it has a lot to do with Juju, Straw Hat Goofy on TikTok, because he would hold the corded, the ear pods and hold that microphone, and a lot of people did it. And then of course he went a different route, and then you had people that were attaching their microphones to different things like an action figure, a spatula, whatever, toilet brush, whatever was interesting. And then you had a lot of TikTok creators on the TikTok shop who were, getting those Rode microphones or
that's what it
everything else. And so they were showing it off and it became a thing.
Now, let me tell you something. Okay. I'm okay with this. I joke and jest just because I have not recorded my video yet, but you'll notice I specifically had to buy, if I had one of these, I lost the cover. I had to buy these in order to do this. So this is a bit that I'm paying for.
Yeah.
But
I got mine, the little one.
I'm okay with it. And the reason why I am is because I really like things to have good, consistent audio. And I like good audio, obviously. I'm sitting here spending way more money than I need to just to try and sound better than I do in real life via an expensive microphone. And so I appreciate anytime anyone puts that effort in, because room echo and everything else, I just want to be able to hear you without turning up the volume.
Sir, you would sound good if you were talking into a solo cup with a string on the end.
Never mind, I'm not going to test that. But thank you. I appreciate that, Tony. You sound pretty good too. At least your sound has a good
I'm
personality.
glad you feel that way because I can't stand my own voice.
That's okay. I can't stand your voice either. Look, guys, thank you very much for joining us. I greatly appreciate it. Tony greatly appreciates it. We all greatly, the word is appreciate it. And also we appreciate Magic Mind for being an amazing product. Helped me to give this sustained energy since I've been up at since 4:30 this morning. But let me tell you, I didn't have a problem going to sleep because I have the Magic Mind energy and the Magic Mind sleep combo. I slept like a baby for like 6.5 hours, which is part of the reason. When you're used to not getting sleep and suddenly you're getting sleep, once you get that good quality sleep, your body's like, this is what we usually get. You're done. Now I got to stretch it out some. Thank you to them. If you want to take advantage of the Magic Mind combo of energy and sleep, you can get 45% off your subscription. Go to magicmind.com/netheadsjan. Until next time. By the way, don't forget, coming up on Kevin Smith's channel, Fat Man Beyond. check that out as well. Until next time, my name is Will.
And I'm Tony.
And we'll be back soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Tony Abdullah.
Goodbye.
Signing off. I know. Stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads will be back soon.
Bye-bye.
This has been a Smodcast production. Smodcast Podcast, using our mouths on you since 2007.
Look, I know it's on me to get everything mounted under the desk here, but this little experiment, I'm wondering if it's going to really work, because this thing is directly in my face, Tony, and week after week, I can't hit the red highlighted button that says show close. I can't do it.
I'm telling you, though, right now, since you and I have been talking about you building those mounts on your 3D printer, I am now seeing TikTok ads for those things.
I did too, right? Well, where do you think I get half of my ideas for 3D printing? I'm like, oh, that looks interesting.
But I saw it. Now I want to do it.
But now I bet you I can get that on, I can 3D print it myself. Yep. You know, it's just like every handyman, home fix-it person's bad idea of thinking they can renovate something themselves and it costs them 3 times as much. Probably along the same lines.
Yep. So I have to ask you this before we get off with
you can't, because, all right,